Can you take us through what it is you know about what happened to Brandon?
The only thing I know is that Brandon, the mother was not home. No one was home except Brandon, and that Brandon, someone knocked on the door. I don't know what they said, but that Brandon opened the door and that Brandon was violently killed, stabbed, and beaten.
And what kind of student was Brandon?
Brandon was an autistic student here at Whitney Young. Most people should know that we have 3 different programs here. One for our magnet program, one for our gifted 7th and 8th grade program, and then a program for special education students. And we have near 100 students. That it's a large spectrum of the type of disability that those students have. Brandon was autistic, but he was on the high end of the spectrum and reading at about the 5th grade level. So that's really high. You know, he was obviously highly functional. And when he graduated from high school, he would have been able to get a job to perhaps support himself with that 5th grade level of intellect.
What kind of effect did Brandon's disability have on him in terms of a stranger coming in the door, or
And that's hard to say. You know, why he opened the door. You know, did he know the person? You know, that's very hard to say, and I'm not going to speculate on that.
Okay. What was your reaction when you heard the news?
Devastated. I've been principal here for 23 years. I've probably lost 5 students on my watch here, and it's just very, very difficult to lose a student violently like that. This is only the 2nd student in my 23 years that we've lost violently. And it's just tough, you know, dealing with the emotions of the faculty, his homeroom teacher, the director of our program, one of his other teachers. It's just really, really tough to see those persons that were really close to him in our school to suffer the way that they did. And then we have a program called Best Buddies, in which a special education student is paired with a high school student in our magnet program. And the student that was paired with Brandon, who did the interview for the Sun Time, she was really emotionally distraught. But she was able to get through the interview, and we were very, very proud of her for being able to do that.
And how has that student been in the last 24 hours?
I've not seen that student because I've been doing these interviews all morning. But we will check on that student today. We had a crisis team yesterday from the district. We have support persons here, our counselors, psychologists, and social workers who are all dealing with those issues by students, faculty, and staff. And so we do have people in place to deal with that.
So it's my understanding that the student was living with his mother in a temporary situation at a hotel. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And do you know where family members were at the time, or if he was home alone? Or
my understanding is that he was home alone. That is my understanding.
And what kind of effect did Brandon's disability have on him?
Well, being an autistic person, I mean, obviously he had some limitations, but in terms of him being able to transition to an environment like Whitney Young, he did it very, very well, and the kids loved him. They supported him, they embraced him, and again, he was a part of the Best Buddies program, in which, you know, he loved music, he loved gardening. Brandon had a beautiful smile on his face. He was tall and handsome, so you couldn't miss him, and so most students in our building knew who Brandon was.
And when you say he loved gardening, he loved basketball, did he work in the school garden here? Was he on the basketball team?
He was on our special education basketball team. He participated on that, and we don't have a garden per se here, but we do have a gardening club, and I think Brandon was a part of something as it relates to gardening.
When you think of Brandon, what personal interactions come to mind that you've had with him through?
Just his smile. I don't think he ever said my name, but he certainly, when he saw me, he would smile. And so I vividly remember him in the hallway doing that. So that is my memory of Brandon.
And how are the students doing today?
A death is hard on children. And, you know, everybody looks at Whitney Young, you know, has a different perspective, but these are children. dealing with these emotions of a loss of a peer. And so today, this evening, we're having a basketball game in Brandon's honor. We're going to ask that everybody, student coming through the door, gives us $3 donation for that effort, and that any adult coming through the door is $5. And then all of those donations for that activity this evening will be given to the funeral home and the family to support the funeral expenses.
And I guess apart from that, is there anything that you want to add about Brandon or his legacy at the school?
Well, two things I want to say. One, it is tragic to lose anyone like this, as tragically as it is. But I would also say that the outpouring that we've received thus far, and we had a parent who just walked in, gave us $1,000, another gave us $250. A organization, Sign Express from the suburbs, contacted us this morning and said anything we needed relative to signage for Brandon's memorial, they would do for free. So we're getting all of that outpouring, and it just tells me that people are human, they have a heart, and we just all need to get along and be respectful of one another and be sympathetic to what other people are going through.
And was Brandon able to communicate with people, at a high level, or what?
I think according to Miss Irvin, he was able to communicate with those that he trusted and he felt comfortable with. He was not very communicative with people that he did not know.
And at this point, is there anything you can say about what the police have told you or family members about who might have been responsible for this?
So we have been in constant communication with the mother, but the mother has not said anything relative to how this tragedy occurred to us, rather other than she found her son dead when she returned back to the hotel.
Okay. And Brandon's buddy has been in school today and was here yesterday as well?
That I don't know who you're speaking of.
His partner.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that student was in school yesterday, and I'm pretty sure she's here today. Yeah, his best buddy's buddy. Yes.
Best buddy. And what year is she?
She is a freshman.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a freshman.